All right, welcome back to another SLG Meetup. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. Usually we have our guest talking about something within the luxury space, but there is nothing more luxurious in life than your actual health. And for that, we have Gary Brecka, human biologist and the co-founder of 10X Health System. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, I'm loving being here, man.
Of course. And where are we right here?
We're in the superhuman room, so this is where we turn average people into superhumans, just basically using the power of Mother Nature from the outside. We bring it inside.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. And I personally have been doing everything that Gary has suggested in order to peak performance within everything I've been doing lately.
No doubt.
And I wanted to have everybody to know a little bit more about you and what specifically are you doing with 10X Health System.
So just real quick, I'm a human biologist and a researcher. My undergraduate degrees are in biology. My postgraduate degrees are in human biology. For the better part of 20 years, I was a mortality researcher for the insurance industry. So if I got 5 years of medical records on you and 5 years of demographic data, we could predict how long you had to live to the month. The downside of that was we were not allowed to have any contact with the patient or the treating physician, so we couldn't really help people that had some of the most common ailments known to mankind. So I made a conscious decision to leave that industry 7 years ago and started a wellness franchise, and we focus on blood work, genetic testing, and a protocol called SuperHuman, which harnesses the power of Mother Nature, brings it from the outside in. And what we do is we just return people back to the basics. And by returning back to the basics and by searching for the missing raw material, the missing nutrients in a person's body, and replacing that, we give them an opportunity to really thrive, really feel what it's like to feel normal, right? Wow. Because I believe that the majority of the population right now, and probably the majority of the people watching this podcast, as good as they think they may feel, they're really walking around at about 55 or 60% of their true state of normal.
Such a waste of human potential.
It's a waste of human potential. I think what you could do with that additional mental clarity, that cognitive function, if we were able to just deepen your delta wave of sleep, not lengthen your sleep, but deepen it. What if we could improve your response to exercise, strip excess weight off your body, improve your waking energy? Those kinds of things, they touch every sphere of a person's life.
I mean, it's so important, and it's crazy how many people actually don't even look into these things, because you might focus on growing your business or doing all these amazing things within your life, but you're so limited if you are not really taking care of yourself. And the first step is to actually understand what's missing.
Yes.
Right? So you're actually doing a lot of different tests that allows people to understand where they stand in life.
It is. It's kind of like a P&L, an income statement, and a balance sheet for your body, right? Most of us know more about our business and the operations of our business than we know about our own human physiology.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy. And my partner, for example, Grant Cardone, that I met years ago, when I did a 64 biomarker blood test on him and a 5-marker genetic test, it had such a material impact on his capacity to grow and manage his business and teach and be an entrepreneur, a type A entrepreneur. It gave him so much more attention to detail, so much more energy for his day. And he ended up acquiring us last year, which is where the name 10X Health came from. And I want to do this for all of humanity, right? I want to help people get back to the basics: magnetism, oxygen, and light, the main things that we get from Mother Nature, walking on the surface of the earth, grounding, breathing, cold plunges, and knowing what's going on in our physiology. Very often we're asking the wrong source for information on how to become optimally healthy. And we're asking our doctor, or our neighbor, or our spouse, or some guru on Instagram. And the truth is, if I could ask your body, your physiology, these questions by using biomarkers in your blood, biomarkers in your genes, once you go in and find out where these deficiencies are in the human body, astounding things happen when you put these simple raw materials back in the human body.
Walk us through. Like, what are the different steps?
Yeah, so basically, we get 3 things from Mother Nature, right? We get magnetism, we get oxygen, and we get light. This is light, obviously. Yeah. This is a red light therapy bed. There's lots of different red light therapy beds on the market. It's one of my favorites. The 10X 360 light bed. But essentially, magnetism is what we get from the earth. So think about the last time that you had bare feet touching bare soil, dirt, soil, sand, because human beings build up a charge. And when we touch the surface of the earth with bare skin, we discharge into the earth. It's called earthing or grounding. We've known about this for decades. And the simple fact is we're just not contacting the earth much anymore, so we become more acidic. And then we use oxygen, right? Because we get oxygen from the air. Only the difference in what's in this bag beside you and what's in the ambient air that we're breathing is the oxygen that we're breathing is about 21% O2. The air in that bag is about 95% O2. And for short periods of time, you breathe 95% O2 while you're mildly exercising. You flood the bloodstream with oxygen. You increase what's called the partial pressure, the storage capacity of the blood for oxygen. And then you get into a red light therapy bed and you drive that oxygen into your cells, right into the mitochondria. I mean, it feels amazing. And I always say, if I could boil my entire career down to a single sentence, it would be that the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. You know, runner's high comes from endorphins, right? Endorphins are produced when we put shockingly high amounts of oxygen into the bloodstream. Even our emotional state is highly tied to our oxidative state, right? The difference between the emotion of passion and the emotion of anger is one neurotransmitter and the presence of oxygen. You know, the reason why no human being has ever woken up laughing is because you don't have the oxidative state to experience laughter, right? But can you wake up angry? You sure can. You can pinch your spouse in the middle of the night, they'll instantly be angry.
Oh yeah.
Trust me. And so what this means is that low levels of oxygen lead to low levels of emotional state. And we know now through scientific research, MIT did a phenomenal study proving the brain pattern that I'm about to describe, but our emotional state determines in our amygdala of our brain, determines what memories we access. And the memories that we access through our emotional state determine our conscience and our future. So it's a long, convoluted way of saying that our current emotional state determines our future. So if we can feed our emotional state by knowing what's going on in our blood work, by knowing what our genetic deficiencies are, supplementing for those deficiencies, then we stay in an elevated emotional state. The longer we stay in elevated emotional states, the longer we recall elevated emotional memories,
Right.
which project an elevated emotional future through our conscience and our prefrontal cortex. It projects a very positive future. So you know those people that try to stay in an elevated state and they can't, so they do self-help and motivational and they try to wake up in gratitude and they go to events and seminars and they're trying to get there. But like a heart monitor, they only reach these emotional levels for very short periods of time. This is because your physiology, your body, will drag you back down into the state where it most comfortably exists. And if you knew how simple it was to make minor changes, dietary, lifestyle, morning routine changes, minor changes in how you supplement. So instead of supplementing just for the sake of supplementing, you supplement for deficiencies in your body and watch how your baseline sense of normalcy skyrockets.
We see a lot of people that have these multi-million-dollar homes and they are spending so much money on a property when in reality having something like this at their home is such a small fraction of the investment that they're putting, but it has such higher return on investment on your overall life.
Oh, no doubt. I would buy this before I bought a vehicle any day of the week. Now, it's the price of a vehicle, don't get me wrong. I mean, a lot of people, this is not in their zip code. This equipment's about 150 grand. So one of the visions that Grant and I have is to open 1,000 of these clinics across the country, 20 in every state in America, so that every single person can, on an affordable basis, get access to the power of Mother Nature, magnetism, oxygen, and light, what we call the SuperHuman Protocol.
Right. That's why I wanted to have you on this podcast, because more people need to be aware of how they can actually tap into the technology that it's offered.
Well, you know, I don't profess to be a real estate expert by any means. That's not my core competency, but I have noticed personally, and this might be anecdotal, but a trend in wellness rooms in the high-end market. You know, people are waking up. I hate the term woke. They're woke too, but they're waking up to wellness. They're waking up to the power of cold plunging. You know, where you get a peripheral vasospasm, you drive oxygen into your core, you release cold shock proteins, you reduce inflammation, and you elevate your emotional state for the price of getting in cold water for 3 minutes. But I see cold plunges and infrared saunas and red light therapy beds, and oxygen tanks like what we're sitting next to, and PEMF mats, pulse electromagnetic field, using low Gauss current in the body to make the body alkaline. There's a lot of fallacies out there about how the body becomes alkaline or how we can maintain an alkaline state. One of the biggest marketing myths is that alkaline water will make the body alkaline. That's a total fallacy, right? Because in chemistry, you can't donate your properties and also maintain them, right? But you can get alkaline either by walking on the surface of the earth, grounding, earthing, or you can get alkaline by laying on one of these yoga mat looking things. It's called a PEMF mat, and using low Gauss current to actually cause the polarity in your body to change. pH stands for potential hydrogen. It's a charge. So if we change the charge in the human body, we make it alkaline. And if you want to be healthy and thrive, you want to wake up alkaline every day of your life.
I wanted to ask, for those that have no clue on how to get started, like let's say, okay, I've accomplished a lot, but I feel like I need to make a change health-wise. What's the first step?
Okay, so there's 3 things you can do that will cost you 0, right? So let's talk about the basics, something that somebody could watch this podcast and go home and do tomorrow. The primary one is breath work, right? Learn to breathe. I mean, I believe that aging is the aggressive pursuit of comfort. The more aggressively we pursue comfort, the faster we age. We have this fallacy that the body doesn't respond well to stress, but we know that if we don't load our bones, they don't strengthen. If we don't tear our muscles, they don't grow. If we don't challenge our immune system, it weakens. And breath work is one of the greatest ways for free to not only raise your elevated emotional state or your mood, but to also push off disease and to actually change the physiology of the body. And you can, Wim Hof is one of my favorites. He's a pioneer of breath work. His teachings are widely available on Google. 3 rounds of 30 breaths in the morning with a breath hold in between. Sounds so simple that most people actually won't commit to do it. It takes 8 minutes a day to do 3 rounds of 30 breaths and hold your breath in between each one of those rounds. Very simple way to elevate your emotional state and actually kick the day off. The second thing is cold plunging. And cold plunges they'll cost you between $5,000 and $15,000, but everybody's taking a shower. And at the end of your shower, 1 minute to 3 minutes, as cold as you can stand that shower, just to get that peripheral vasospasm, drive oxygen into the core, release cold shock proteins. These cost you nothing. And the further you travel north, the colder the water is, right? So Miami, where we are, the water doesn't get that cold. So those are 2 of my favorites. And the most overlooked exercise in all of modern medicine is simply walking. You want to strip fat off your body, take a fasted walk for 45 minutes every day and just watch the weight come off. You can even do your conference calls in the morning. You shouldn't be walking at a pace where you're panting and can't talk. So 45 minutes of walk, 8 minutes of breath work, 3 minutes of a cold shower, which will cost you 0, will absolutely change the trajectory of your life.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, my last question, because I know you have a lot of things going on, but this is a question that I always ask because it's so different for everybody. But what is the real meaning of luxury to you?
The real meaning of luxury to me is a deep-seated connection to your own happiness, right? So I think luxury doesn't exist in a place or an object or even a person, right? I think luxury is, it's really your interpretation of what's making you happy. For some people, this might be a mansion that's modern, minimalist, and a view of the ocean. But if that's your interpretation of luxury and you never reach that socioeconomic status, then you feel like you're missing out on something, right? But you can be luxurious. I mean, my favorite place in the world is Pitkin, Colorado. It's a 1-horse town. Nobody's heard of Pitkin, Colorado.
No.
If you have, good, thank you. But it's 4 hours outside of Denver. It's middle of nowhere. There's no EMF. There's no running water. There's no microwaves. There's no city sewers. We have a log cabin there off the grid. We walk out in Mother Nature. We hike up and down these mountains. I do cold plunges in lakes that are 48 degrees. And it's my happy place. To me, that's luxurious. I mean, it's absolute luxury. I fly around on a G650 with my partner, and a lot of people consider that to be luxury. But to me, luxury is your own perspective.
Well, I love that. I really appreciate your time. I
Awesome,
appreciate
man.
everything. And
Dude, I love
come
it too,
on,
brother. Superhuman.
Gary Brecka, the guy himself. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome,
Appreciate
bro.
it.